Good morning everybody, it's Belinda here from Visualised NZ. We're going to be working in the Woodland Notes journal that I'm working on for RachandBella Crafts. I'm using the Woodland Wanderings and Forest Threads kit from RachandBella Crafts for this journal. So first up, I want to sort out a topper for this journal, and I have this little bit of corrugated cardboard. When I was cutting it from the box, it tore. And I was going to throw it out, and I thought, hang on, I actually quite like the torn edges. So I've already partly prepared it. I've had it sitting around for a while. Bit of white paint, a bit of ground espresso distress ink, and I thought, let's decorate that up for a start. So put the journal aside. I have a few ideas on it. I'm just looking for where to put the journal. So let's grab out the fussy cuts for Woodland Wanderings. Actually, let's grab out all the trays, because I'll probably need them. Okay, fussy cuts first though. I also want to mention that you may hear a bit of wind noise. We are expecting gale force norwesterly winds today. And it's already windy and we're getting the occasional gust, but I wanted to get my videos done before it became super serious, because then there'll be a lot of noise. So if you hear any wind noise in the background, you know, I started this video before 8 AM, so I'm trying to get ahead of when it gets really bad. So what would we like? Oh, that's kind of pretty. What would we like on this? Finish my sentences might be a good thing. Oh, I'm going to have a tough time deciding. I thought I knew which way I was going to go with this. But like any of these just look like, not this one because it's, well actually it looks good too, but it's, you know, it's too big. But now I'm changing my mind. It's like, but how can you resist that face? My goodness, how can you? I think the fox is a better size. I think I'm going to go with fox because, yum. I just want to pet the little fox. I know, I'm a strange person. I really love animals. I just do. I love animals. And cutie pies like this, oh, just have my heart melting. Okay, so a little label or something. No, that doesn't quite work with that, and that's about the same size. There's these cool pieces like this that are really, really pretty and fun. Maybe something like that. And then there is a word, or not word, but two words that I thought would be really good. Field diary might work. Field notebook. I thought there was something else that had particularly caught my attention for the front cover. Notes, specimen notes. No, I think there's still something else. Am I remembering incorrectly? Quite possible. Thought they're classified. That would be quite cute, wouldn't it? No, maybe I am remembering incorrectly. I thought there was something different, but I've been doing a lot of fussy cutting, so it might have all just kind of melded in together with what I've been cutting out. So a field diary might be quite cute. Maybe it was field diary. Do we want to put it over the fox though? Maybe not. Maybe up the top there instead, and then sit this down here. You could put it hanging off the edge maybe, or maybe we don't want it at all. playing with composition until I get something I'm happy with. That's not too bad. Do we want field diary, field notebook? I don't think I want specimen notes or classified. Just notes. Actually, I quite like that. Which one do I like better? I think it's between these two. I think this one balances this green frame out a bit better. So let's go with that one. It's not the one I was intending on, but you know, sometimes things change. Right, what else would I like to layer up with? I do have some cheesecloth here. Grab that out. It is just plain white. I've got some pink stuff, but I thought pink's not going to be the right colour. Let's kind of just snip off, because I'm not sure whether I want it under there or under the whole thing, is what I'm wondering. So I'm going to snip off this section, because we won't need any more than that, I don't think. Right, so we can get rid of that bigger piece. Throw it on the floor, the catch-all for everything. So there's, yeah, like there's heaps there. And there's a seam. I did not know it had a seam in it. Oh no, it's the edge. So it was folded twice. So do we want to pop it underneath? Might need the journal for this to visualize a bit better. Cat fur. So like, do we want, I mean, I'm not going to leave it, you know, I'm going to bunch it up. It won't be flat. Do I like that? Or do I like just like a random piece like that, kind of? I think I like that better. Okay, so I'm just gonna chompy chomp. And I think I'm going to need fabric glue just to kind of try and glue all this together off of the journal, I think, in case we have any accidents. Right, so how do we want this? We want it, you know, kind of decoratively, kind of draped, bunched. Oops, thread's coming out. Get rid of some of those threads. Right, I know I am fiddling. I'm making a meal of this. I kind of like that. Gives a bit of, you know, movement, a bit of flow. I think I'm relatively happy with where that is. So I expect that some of the edges that aren't glued down will fray over time, and that's fine. It'll just add to the fun. I suspect it's a bit clogged with dry glue there. Here we go. Now it should work. Yep. So I'm just going to work a section at a time. Kind of, because the drew, I can't even talk properly today. The glue will dry quite quickly, is what I was trying to say. Did you notice how my words all just ran into one word? So of course you can only really glue to the top surface of the corrugations, which makes it a little bit tricky. getting terribly gluey fingers. Oops, getting a bit low in the screen there. I'm trying to keep an eye on that and not go out of frame, but it still happens, so please forgive me if I disappear out of sight for a few moments. I'll try and bring it back as quick as I can. Just want those, they're probably going to be covered, but let's tease them out anyway. Oh, so sticky. Clean up on aisle Belinda. Just going to have a wee sip of my coffee. I know it's only 8:10 now. I need to fuel. Okay, let's distress around our fox friend. Such a cutie. I don't mind the white of the cheesecloth because it's so thin that it shows all the distressing around, and there's going to be distress stuff on top. I did think about running it through my distress pad, but I was like, oh, it's going to be messy. I'm going to get it all over my fingers. So let's give this a bit of a brush just to take off the white more than anything, because it's already got a lovely dark distressed edge from the printable. But there is the odd little bit of white that I've managed to leave on when I was fussy cutting, so just really inking to take that away so you can't see the white. Okay, so this needs to go underneath and just on the edge. So I'm going to use Fabri-Tac, not Fabri-Tac, goodness, I've never had Fabri-Tac in my life. My fabric glue, which is probably fairly similar to Fabri-Tac. Just kind of slide that in under there. And there's white there, so the white of the cheesecloth doesn't matter at all. Okay, I think I'll put the little word label down first, just in case I end up covering part of it, because I don't want to cover the fox's ear with the label. So we'll just put this down first. Right, now our friend the fox. We should name him, shouldn't we? Him, her, what do you reckon? I haven't got any names popping into my head at the moment. What do you think the fox's name should be? Felicity? Going for alliteration here. F names. Frida? Felix? Is it a boy or a girl? Kind of looks to me like it might be a girl fox. Got a few threads poking out there, not many. Probably would have preferred more, but never mind, it is what it is. Making sure our friend, currently unnamed friend, is nicely glued on. So I do have some overhang here and there. I just might put a little bit more glue under the edge. And I think that will be fine. Just give it a press on the side, I'll get less gluey, I think. A few threads from the glue. Okay, what's that looking like now? Oh, that's so cute. And I think I'll leave these bits loose. I'm not going to glue them down, so they definitely will fray. I expect them to fray, and I think that is fine. But how cute is that? I'm not going to glue it on the cover right now though, because we're going to be still working in this, and I don't want it to, you know, get a bit beaten up or damaged before we're finished. So that's that done. I'm happy. I've had that project on my radar for quite some time. I'm just trying to get rid of the threads off of my fingers because the glue is driving me mental. Okay, so I also have an idea for this Edith Holden page. So if you watched the previous video, I was umming and ahhing about what to do with this flap because I love the text and I love the fact that you can unfold that and see the whole picture. So not really wanting to glue it down. So what I've decided to do is put a piece of paper here that doesn't cover the whole thing, so we still get the pretty text, but that it's writable. So this piece of paper is not straight. Maybe we need to straighten it first, or we're going to tear it anyway, so why bother straightening it when we're going to tear it? So I'm just going to tear a piece off to size first. And this is just some paper that I picked up at my favourite junk shop. I'm not sure what type of paper it is. It's thicker than copy paper. It's got a lovely texture actually. It's kind of smooth but visually textured. It's interesting. It is quite plain. It's not quite white. It's more of a off-white. But I thought we'd use a bit of that. Okay, so I want this to look really kind of almost old mappish, you know, with the torn, crumpled edges. So I'm going to create a rough torn edge right around. I don't want any straight edges here. And we're going to get fun with the distress ink and deliberately making it look old. Like something that's been out in the field while somebody's been wandering through the woods making notes. That's what I'm trying to achieve. It's like something's been chewing at it. Don't want to make it too small. I want to still have a usable writing space at the end. Would be preferable. Put the scissors away because I won't need them for this part. So how are you today? I hope you're all doing well. Doing something creative maybe. Okay, so that's what we've got so far, but I want to even sort of make that more distressed. So we're going to tear a bit there and just kind of fold it up a bit. And this side as well. You see that? It's going to get easier to see once we've distressed it. And let's do one maybe up here. And kind of just fold that back on itself. And let's take a little piece out, like right out. So like there's a little chink out there. Okay, now I want to kind of give it a bit of a scrunch. Some of this will be taken out when it's glued on. Okay, so I'm going to grab out my old paper distress ink. So I'm going to grab ground espresso as well. Now I've just got to find my old paper. There we go, old paper distress ink. Because I keep them in a stack, so you know, got to open them all out to see which one's which. I should put a wee note on the side, but you know, ain't got time to do that. And I'm just going to kind of it's very juicy ink pad, so it's probably a bit darker than I would have liked. But that's okay, we can work with it. going to give it a wee spritz with water very carefully because I don't want it saturated. So I'm going to move it off screen. Just because I don't want it all over my desk. I just want that ink to move a little bit. So I'm going to grab a clean tissue. And take off some of that water and move the ink and just soften it a little bit so it's not quite so dark. Okay, I think that's okay. Now I want to go in with Vintage Photo and distress the edges. It's still damp. The paper is still damp, so just going gently. Although if we tear it, like, it's not a big deal, is it? Because we've deliberately been tearing it. So getting those bits that are folded down and making sure they're nice and grungy, because obviously they've been in the wars, maybe dropped in the dirt or brushed against a tree trunk. Who knows? Eaten by a beetle. Quite possible out in the woods. Just looking for a bit of paper to kind of put that down and get in there. Who else is working with either Woodland Wanderings, Forest Threads, or maybe even both? I think the kits partner really well together. Super fun, really pretty. I'm enjoying working with them. Right, I want to just give it a bit of this dirt, bit of Vintage Photo here and there. Just some smudges. That's more or less what we're going for. We're going for smudges. Starting to look quite cool. Now compare that to that. You can really see the difference, can't you? Right, but I'm not finished. I also want to add some ground espresso, which is quite dark, so I'm going to have to be gentle. Just knead out my distress sponge, not sponge, felt. Yeah, I've lost the ground espresso one again. So which one is it? Maybe, I don't think it's that one, but we can use that one. I did see it the other day. I was like, oh, there it is, and now I can't find it again. My drawer is such a mess. It's become a dumping ground, unfortunately. It started out so neat and orderly, and I kept it like that for a long time, and now it's just ridiculous. I can never find what I want, apart from my staple black ink and my ink blocks, which are always in the same place and quite accessible. But even now I'm having to take stuff off top to get to those. Right, so I'm just going quite gently. Maybe I'll put it, I think I need actually some proper ink on my, don't think I'm actually getting anything. Let's try that. That's better. Now I can actually see it's making a difference. So again, I don't want to do like the whole thing. I just want areas where it's, you know, maybe being traipsed in some mud. So just here and there. And this little distressed part. Okay, I think that's good. So just layering up those different colours. If you don't have the different colours, just go with what you have. You could even use coffee or tea to add a bit of colour. Okay, so that's looking pretty close to how I wanted it, so I'm going to go with that. Do I want to use glue stick is the next question. I think it will flatten out the creases, but it will flatten out over time anyway in the journal. Oh, I get the lid off my glue stick. So I think I'm going to go glue stick in the middle and tacky glue around the edges. And it doesn't really matter if we don't get the physical texture of those creases, because we'll have the visual with the ink and things. Alright, good amount of glue stick on there, and let's whip around the edges with the tacky glue. Which of course takes a little bit longer because it's not straight. But not too bad. We're off and racing now, like just zipping around the edge. And just a little bit for good measure, in case that glue stick's dried too much. Right, and position it. So you can still see the text through this paper because it's light enough that you can see that text, although once it's written on you probably won't really notice the text underneath. Okay, oh, that looks yummy. So these little bits here that I've folded over, I am just going to glue down. And that bit was supposed to be folded over as well, and it didn't get inked, so we'll just, here we go. And doing those little chinks also allow the text to just peep through from underneath, hopefully. I haven't actually achieved much of it showing through, but just a little edge here and there. And there we have it, a fun distressed page for writing on. That's also really interesting. I love that. That looks really cool. How fun. And then we can still, you know, see some of Edith Holden's text there. Super. Actually, I probably need to glue that down as well. Come on, glue. There we go. Okay, so that's those two things that I wanted to get done. How are we going on time? Oh, we're fine. We are fine. We can still play some more. Just peeling off some of that glue off my fingers. In fact, just bear with me while I grab a wet wipe, because I've also got inky fingers and they're looking a bit disgusting. So let's just do a little clean up. Take a wee moment, have a sip of coffee. What are you drinking? Have you got a drink with you? Are you a good person drinking water? Or are you like me and you're having a cup of coffee? Or maybe you're having tea or a soft drink or something. What's your pleasure at the moment to drink? Okay, right, so you may have seen the video where I talked about hubby buying me 20 books last week. He bought me 20 books for $25, and I've already gutted one of them. I've actually got the insides. Look at this. See the name of the book? The Woodlanders. Like, is that not like appropriate for this journal? Woodland Wanderings. And the name of my journal, Woodland Notes. But anyway, they've got pictures in them. And there's these two pictures here I thought might work with this journal. So just black and white, but they're really beautiful. This guy beside a tree, and there's a house over here and amongst trees, and then this man and the lady with trees. And I thought, you know, there's trees, they could be in the woods. So what do I want to do with them is the thing. They're quite large. We can cut them down. I'm thinking maybe a tip-in. Also blank on the back actually. Yes. But they're super thin, like very thin. We could do one as like a tip-in somewhere. Let's go to the back. Kind of like, I like the story playing out, like the woods here, and then like he's on the edge of the woods. Maybe he's just come out of this path and looking at the house. I kind of like that story happening. Maybe only a story in my brain, but we're going with it. So I think I am going to make this one into a tip-in. Do I want to back it? It is very, very thin. If I don't back it, then whatever is written on the back could go through. So I think backing it is probably the way to go. But I do want to take off this white. So this is a way to use book page illustrations. This is the name of the illustrator. So I'm going to leave that. I do want to tear it straight though. So eyeballing as close as I can to get it straight. That looks pretty good. Right, let's take off this edge as well. Okay, and this edge I'm thinking will be our hinge, where we hinge it to the page. So let's back it first. Do we want to use this paper? It's actually fairly close in colour, isn't it? Or do we want to use something a bit more interesting, shall we say? I've got some brown paper. Okay, let's go brown paper. So I'm just going to chop a piece off just to make it easier to work with on the desk. Well, so far that wind is being okay. There were a few gusts before I started recording that were really noisy, but it seems to have settled for the moment. It won't stay that way. It's supposed to be quite rough, which I am not looking forward to, and I also have to go out this afternoon and not looking forward to driving in it, because it's those gusts. Those gusts are really dangerous when you're driving, because you're going around okay, and then a gust will just, you know, it's like wrestling, take you by surprise. Not fun driving in strong wind, is it? And I'm guessing a lot of you who are in like cyclone zones or hurricane zones are only too familiar with the scariness of strong winds. Yeah, it's quite not unusual here for nor'west winds to get so bad that they cause a lot of damage, like power lines down, broken trees, debris. One year the nor'west was so bad in one day that multiple fences were taken out, like blown over, and there was a lot of fence repairs had to happen around our town, and I imagine other places as well. But yeah, that was super bad. And one year when I was a little girl, I don't remember the wind per se, except I remember watching the leaves swirling outside the house. But it blew the neighbour's garage roof off and through our dining room window when I was a little girl. So I just remember Mum and Dad locking us kids in the front room. You know, not locking us in, but basically putting us in the lounge and shutting the door. Because the wind was blowing all the leaves inside, the glass was everywhere, it was noisy, you know, it was very high drama. But funny, I don't remember much about the wind itself. But yeah, it was a big mess, and, you know, an insurance claim to replace the big window that got broken. I don't even actually remember the bit of roofing, you know. I guess because we were in the lounge, we were put somewhere safe. I never got to see the bit of roof through the window. So Mum and Dad must have cleared that out while we were safely ensconced. Right, okay. I feel like I need to give it a bit more of a smush down. And we do have a bit of glue lines happening there from the tacky glue, but hopefully they will disappear. If they don't, well, so be it. Now, do I want to round the corners on it? That is my question. It's only going to be a small tip in, that's okay. Do I want to? Yes, I do want to fold that under, otherwise we've got a white edge that doesn't really make a lot of sense. So this is going to be the hinge. Just adding extra writing space as well. Right, I feel like it needs a bit of distressing, definitely. So I think I'm gonna not distress the corners, not round them, that's what I meant to say. Not gonna round the corners. It's still quite kind of flexible, but when the glue dries it will stiffen up a bit because it's still wet. Another reason for not rounding the corners, because it's probably going to jam up my punch. Because I'm too impatient to wait for it to dry before I do it. I just want to get it on the page and move on. Now, do I want to put that around the page? There's kind of nothing really going on there, is there? It's a bit boring. It's just plain paper. So I think I'll put it this way on the page, so we open up and we've got that hinge. I might still put washi there though, just as like a hidden little decoration. So let's glue it on, and we might want to decorate this up a little bit more with a label or something. I think that might be quite fun. This could be the owner of the journal just coming back from being out in the woods making notes about what he's seen. Do I want top, bottom? Let's put it at the top actually, because often the tops of our pages don't have as much going on. You know, all our pockets tend to be at the bottom. So let's put it at the top there. So it's come out the path and wandered up here. So kind of follow, can you see that line? In my head anyway, that's how it's working. Okay, so under here I've got this really pretty washi from a friend from Laurel, which I think is beautiful dark green, and it's got some leaves on it and some florals, so I think that would work well. Just brings in a bit more of that green that I'm trying to bring into this journal, so it's not completely like autumn colours, since I am not in autumn. I want it to be more of a, you know, any time of year journal. I managed to really make a mess of that end there, so I'm going to just snip it off, and I've got so much glue still stuck on my fingers. And we're just going to add that there as a little bit of fun colour when you open up this attachment. And then, oh, we've got some fun colour going on. How's that? So nice little hidden bit of boing. Okay, it's wanting to sit up at the moment because it's, you know, that glue. Right, what do we want to decorate with? Let's go into these labels and words again. That could be quite nice. Maybe he came across a bug. No, I feel like they're too big actually. Or this bug. A bee or a fly, I'm not sure which. No, not a butterfly, that doesn't. Entomology collection. No. Location. Location, location, location. Let's put those ones back in there. Wondering about No, don't like those together. Not in that way. Maybe just simple as location. Okay, let's do that. Let's give it a little ink around just because I can still see those white edges. There we go. Just a wee light one. And I'm just going to use glue stick off camera here. It's just a little bit of my glue page sticking out underneath my containers. I had enough to glue on. Okay, I could have layered that up with something else, like a bit of book page or anything, something, but never mind, it's on now. Sometimes simple is good, don't you think? So, location, house in the woods. Okay, time check. Okay, we are getting on there. I'm just wondering now about this book page. I think I want to include both of them. So that one's a tip in or a flip out, whatever you want to call it. Do I want to turn this one into a journal card? I think that would be really nice. Do we have a place for it? Just trying to envisage it cut down. It might be a bit small for those pockets. I mean, it doesn't matter if we don't have a pocket yet for it, because I've got a lot of work to do in this journal. Just having a quick wee squiz. Actually, we don't have many pockets at all. It's going to be too long for the paper bag. Yeah, I definitely need to put pockets and stuff in here. Oh yeah, we've got not very much at all. We do have this. This I think is too... Oh, might work. Cut. I'm just trying to see once it's cut down. Anyway, it might go in there. It might go in that one. So, or it might go somewhere entirely different. Who knows? So I think I need to give this a bit more space, if you like. But I'm going to achieve that by layering it up. So I'm going to start. Actually, do I want to use a guillotine maybe? Might be easier to use a guillotine, so let's do that. Layer it up with different papers is what I'm thinking, and it will give it a frame. and also help to make it a bit bigger to fit one of those larger pockets. Okay. Oh, it's pretty. Okay, I do need to ink around that. Now, do I want to just like do what we did with that piece of paper? And no, I think I'll just leave it as is because I might ruin it. But let's distress around the edge of it. And I'm thinking, what papers do I want to layer it up with? I'm not going super heavy, just a little light inking around the edge. You could add ink to the top if you didn't want it so white, but I really like the graphic nature of it. I think it's beautifully done. It looks like it's a pencil or maybe charcoal sketch. Could be more charcoal actually, because it's very, what's the word? I don't know, escape me. Like smudged, that's the word, smudged look. Right. So do we want to put a layer of the brown paper around as a frame? Or actually, what I might prefer to do is use one of the beautiful papers out of the kit. I think I like that better than the brown paper. I like that idea much better. This is a beautiful, beautiful piece. Do we want to try something else, or are we happy with that? I think that's really lovely. I'm thinking about green, you know, bring in more of that green that I want to inject. So let's try it on the green. I love this distressed edge, but I'm thinking I want perhaps a little less of that for a border. No, that's not dark enough. I think I need something darker. So those two papers are from Woodland Wanderings. Let's go to Forest Threads. I'm just going to flick through for one that's a, maybe this one. It's a dark green. Yeah, that's making me happy. It needed something bolder because this is black and white. It just needed the strength of colour. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue it on, then I'm going to cut this out. So cover it in glue stick, give it a good dose. I am quite happy with this glue stick. It seems to be performing really, really well. It hasn't had time yet to see whether anything comes apart that I've used it on. I think the oldest thing I've used it on is maybe, what, four days since I used it. So not really long enough for a long-term test. But so far, so good. Right, just want to make sure I get it straight as I can. So chop that out. Okay, and I'm using the plastic ridge on my guard for how far out from the image I'm chopping. to get an even-ish border. That one's going to be slightly off because I positioned it not quite right, but it's close enough. Minimally off. Yes. Okay, but I'm not finished yet. No. So I want another layer. I do, but the other layer I want to be writing space. So, you know, I need the writing space on the back. So do I want to use this and give it a white border? I think that really suits it because of the white in the image. And then once it's distressed, it should be good. But I think I want to also distress around this green. It's probably not going to overly show, but I want each stage of the layered up piece to be distressed. So another use for a book page illustration, essentially a full page illustration. If the paper was heavier, I wouldn't have needed to back them because they would have been fine, but no, the paper is very thin. You can see the pattern of the green paper through it. Okay, back to gluing. So I'm going to shove that one aside, use a fresh page so we don't get a mucky front. And I might do both glues this time because it's not going to show through the book page, the tacky glue. And it's going to help, I hope, uncurl some of that curliness that's going on because of the glue stick. Right. That and the tacky. No, tacky used to be a bad word, didn't it? Oh, that's so tacky. I guess it still is. Just depends how it's used. But when it comes to glues, tacky glue is brilliant. That's so tacky. Exactly. That's what I want. The English language. It's funny, isn't it? So let's give it plenty of air there so I can do even borders. I'm not sure whether I'll do the same sort of distance as the green. Probably not. I think a little bit less would be better. Okay. So let's have a look where we want. About there. It's going to be tricky because it's not lined up against anything. I'm just kind of eyeballing distance. Just a tad bit more difficult to get an even measurement when you're not actually measuring. Just eyeballing. But if it's good enough to my eye, it should be good enough. So I hope. Oh, I think that looks really pretty. All right, I think we're finished with the guillotine now. Oh, I do. I think that looks so pretty. So this outer layer is thin, but it's only a short amount around the edge that's thin, so I think that'll be fine. And the middle has got 3 layers, so that's nice and sturdy. Once the glue dries, it's a little bit curly still. So what have we made? We've made a journal topper, we've made a flip out, tip in, whatever you want to call it, and we've made a journal card. So I call that pretty good going in my world. You know, my world, I don't typically get a lot done in a video. I don't know whether it's because I'm too busy talking or too busy thinking, I don't know. But I think 3 pieces I'm pretty happy with for this video. Hope you've enjoyed it. I hope it's given you some ideas. Something you might want to have a play with. Got a good stack of pictures that you love out of books but not sure how to use them. Especially like those Reader's Digest books. They have some beautiful images in quite often. This is a good way to use those types as well. Okay, do we want to add anything? A label? I mean, we don't have to. I do actually really like it as is. But I also kind of like that as well. Approved. We approve of their relationship. What species that disappears too much? Trichoptera. No idea what that is. Kind of sounds like a dinosaur. Phasmida. Again, no idea what that is. I think approved. I just like that little approved. Just a little subtle something. I just want the image itself really to speak without too much else going on, but just a little something. You could add more if you like, if you prefer. Certainly if you've got an area of the image that you don't actually like, then go to town layering up with whatever. Just want that slightly into that border. Approved. There we go. And I'm still distracted by all the glue, all that fabric glue still stuck on my fingers. I just don't like it. I can't abide by it. So I find it very distracting for one thing. Okay, so back to the journal. Let's see, it might just be right the ticket under there. I think that fits really nicely under there. So that's that pocket filled, or would we prefer over here? I can chop and change anyway. No, it's too tall for that pocket. That's right, because I glued that shorter. So this one is where it's going to live. Love that. I think that's really cool, and bringing in more of that green. Super fun. Okay, well that's it for today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Do hop along to RachandBella Crafts and check out those digital kits. They are absolutely wonderful. And how cute is that fox? So he will get glued on as we get towards finishing the journal, just to make sure he doesn't, you know, doesn't run away, doesn't get damaged. Cute. I love that. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me. I will see you in the next video. Take care, everyone. Bye.